Mabuhay pageant fans! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hey Adam G, how are you all doing? Guys, I am so happy. I have yet another beautiful guest for tonight. So, of course, you might have seen her already since last year. Of course, she's the reigning Miss Filipina International. So I can't wait to get to know her more. So here she is. She's now here in the Philippines competing for the title of Miss Universe Philippines this year. So please say hello to Miss Universe Philippines 2024 from Florida, Miss Matea Smith.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you? When did you fly here in the Philippines?
I actually landed last night.
Oh, fresh off the airport.
Yes.
So, do you have a jet lag now?
No, I'm good. I got some sleep on the plane, thankfully. So
Yeah.
it's feeling good.
First of all, you have such a unique name, Matea Smith.
Yes.
So, is Matea a Filipino name?
Not that I know of. The story behind my name is my mom went to college with a girl named Matea, and upon meeting her, my mom always said, "I'm gonna name my daughter Matea," and here I am.
Because she was so close with that friend of hers.
No, actually, it was just because she really liked the name Matea,
Oh.
and I researched it before, and Matea actually means gift from God. So,
And then mahal,
Yes.
because you were probably made out of love.
yes, my mom always told me that I'm gonna be so loving and give so much love to the world. But she'd also say that I'd be really expensive to her. So-
Are you an only child?
no, I have two older brothers, two kuyas.
So you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest and the only girl.
There's so many positive things coming in to you at the moment. First of which is you're the first Filipino and Black descent winner of this pageant, Miss Filipina International, based in Los Angeles. So how do you feel about this history that you're creating for yourself and the pageant, and now for your stint here in MUPH?
I was really honored to win in the pageant's 10-year history as the first Afro-Filipina. And what was really important to me was representation. And because the Philippines is very rich in its cultural diversity, stemming from Maetas in Africa or like the Spaniards that came over. So I think it was very important to be able to display myself and win and show the girls who are like me and others that are underrepresented who they can be and what they can achieve in life.
Is Miss Filipina International your first ever pageant?
It was not my first, it was my second pageant. My first pageant was Miss Florida Teen USA in 2021.
So how did you get into pageantry?
It was actually my first pageant for Miss Florida Teen USA was really just throwing myself out there. Started off as a joke with my mom at the dining table saying, "Mom, I've done modeling, I've done sports. Why haven't I done pageants?" Because we would avidly watch Miss Universe. And next thing you know, she was like, "Okay, I'll enter you." And at that time, we didn't know much about pageants. So to say we were shocked by the entire industry is an understatement. And after that, I was approached for Miss Filipina International at a dance competition, actually.
Oh.
Yes. And doing another pageant after that wasn't really in my mind state, but once I researched the pageant and was seeing the pride of wanting to show the Philippines, that's really what made me want to elicit the same response. And that's when I was like, "Mom, okay, we're going to do this pageant and we're going to do it correct this time. And we're going to learn everything this time." And that's what I did.
Wow, buti you have such a lucky set of parents for them to allow you to join pageantry, considering your age, when most of the parents would tell their children to focus on their studies first, but they would allow you to do all these things on the side.
Yes, I have very supportive parents, and as long as I'm putting my work towards everything, they're going to support me no matter what.
So, we want to get to know you more for this pageant. So, can you share us your story? Like, can you share a little bit of yourself in terms of, your course, what type of things that you like to do for fun or during your spare time?
So I'm currently a student at the University of Florida. I am studying behavioral and cognitive neuroscience, which is a branch of psychology on the pre-medical track because I aspire to become a trauma surgeon one day. And in my spare time, I'm a dancer for the Ace Company, and I enjoy dancing as just an expression and as a gateway to just relieve some stress and through that. But growing up, I was an avid athlete. I started running track at the age of 5 years old, and from there, my entire life was kind of centered around sports because I had this dream to want to become an Olympian, and I was very focused towards that. But unfortunately, in middle school, I experienced some hip pain and ended up having 3 hip surgeries, ultimately ending my athletic career.
How old are you? How old were you when you had that hip injury?
I was 12.
12.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when it started, yes.
And how do you think that hip injury impacted your background as a biracial kid living in the States?
The hip injury?
Yeah.
How it impacted it? It was just really a challenge at the time because it kind of shifted everything that I knew because, again, sports was my entire life. That's what I was geared towards, what I wanted to do with my brothers and my dad. So at the time, it was losing that athletic career, I was just lost because I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, what do I do? I was wrestling with some mental health, some depression, because I just felt like there was nothing else left for me at the time. But I found solace in trying to overcome that when I geared my focus towards thinking of what I couldn't control and what I can do now, and just moving forward through that. So I started getting more involved in dance, getting involved in Mateas Hope, which is a charity in the Philippines and Ukraine, and just seeing them, they're disabled children, they're kind of going through something I went through as well, a disorder in which they couldn't control. But then upon seeing them, they're smiling, and it kind of just shaped my perspective that there's more that I can do than focusing on what I can't control.
That is so true. Yeah, focusing on what you cannot control.
Yes.
So at such an early age, you've been exposed to how life is all about. And then you got involved in pageantry.
Yes.
So wow, that's nice. So, growing up, who were your role models?
Growing up, since I was geared towards sports, my role model was Flojo. She's the fastest woman in the world. But also through that, it had to have been my mom, because through coming from the Philippines, just showing her determination and really just displaying those emotions onto me, it made me want to elicit the same like responses as her in the same way, in presenting myself as someone poised and someone who can overcome any obstacles as well.
Looking at you and meeting you for the second time around, but this time in a very intimate setting, I realize how confident you are as a person. So I wonder, when you were growing up, back then, did you sort of have, issues while growing up, given your biracial background? Did you sort of have like an identity crisis growing up?
No, I don't think I had an identity crisis, because fortunately I grew up in a place where I had people surrounding me from various cultures, and so there was no inclination that we had to feel that we had to be a certain way in order to belong. So everyone just was able to just express themselves, express their cultures in a comfortable setting. So there was no identity crisis for me.
Nice. So growing up, what were the Filipino values, traits, or anything about our culture that you fancy, that you like, that you have taken as you transition to adulthood?
Though growing up, I was very immersed in the Filipino culture, so there was many things, but what I really take away from it is the respect and discipline and the family foundation behind it. Because family foundation is the number one for me, because I have two kuyas, they're older than me, but through everything, they have been my supporters and my family as well. When I see my family, it's just I know that they're going to show up for me, and I know that I can always show up for them as well. And no matter what, they're always just going to be by my side rooting me on. So
are they all coming here for you?
They will be, yes.
Yes, yeah. So how's it been So, one thing I like about you, despite your background, is that you chose to, to join pageantry here in the Philippines, given that you could have, gone the convenient way, which is to do probably Miss USA and route to Miss Universe. What made you choose to to have that aspiration of representing your mother's homeland?
I think it was really just how I was raised and all of the values and ideas that I was raised upon. My mom stressed the importance of embracing where I come from and my cultural heritage, and the Philippines plays a major role in that. And that is something that I just want to express to the world, that even though I am mixed, the Philippines is who I am. It is part of me, and really nothing can take that away.
Wow, ang ganda sa ng pagpapalaki sa'yo ng parents mo, no?
Yes.
Do you understand Filipino?
Nakakaintindi ng konti. Nag-aaral ako.
Right now?
Yes.
So, how's it been like?
Intense, but it's working, yes.
How long have you been studying Tagalog?
Since October, I've been on a very intense track, so... Yes.
So, can you speak? So, hindi ka pa ganun ka-fluent?
No, not yet.
Pero alam mo, bilib ako sa'yo So, I'll try to talk to her in Tagalog. Para naman, hindi naman kami puro Englishan dito. Pero natutuwa ako sa'yo because you were able to find an outlet or another zone where you can really express your true identity, given that you got sidelined by your hip injury. From the world of sports to pageantry, you're now here. Makes me think, sometimes, how do you feel, especially where you come from, where pageantry is looked down upon, and here you are, half of your heritage is looking down upon something, a sport, a type of sport back there in the States, compared as to how it's being celebrated here as a massive platform.
I feel that the almost negative stereotypes behind beauty pageants comes from a place of ignorance, and it's people that are putting that out there has not put themselves in my shoes and not have put themselves on the stage to be looked at through an audience. Pageantry is more than just beauty, and people have been saying this for a long time, but it's about the hard work and dedication, and really you don't know what it feels like to be a part of a pageant until you put yourself into the shoes and immerse yourself within the industry.
Because I think the reason why, especially a lot of people in the States or even in other Western countries feel, because of that particular aspect of the competition where you guys have to show some skin. I'm talking about the swimsuit competition. Whereas, if you think about it objectively, it's about, I feel a showcase of a woman like you, a test of their fitness level and responsibility in disciplining themselves in that aspect. And when you talk about, let's say, the Olympics or any type of world sports event, we measure that athleticism, that prowess, that strength to do all these things. Whereas they cannot see that same thing, ideals, in relation to pageantry. How do you feel about that double standard?
Within again, I think it comes from a place of ignorance, because with the swimsuit, it's not only about your body, it's about how you carry yourself, it's your confidence, because you can have an athletic body, but you can also have scars, and you can decide whether to cover it up or not. When I did my swimsuit competition, I have a large scar on my body, and I was not afraid to show it because my scars did not define who I am. And I think in a way, when it comes from the double standard, it's just, you just have to see everything from a different perspective, and people can often be narrow-minded, but you really can't control what others think, and so what's important is to just stand on your own values and beliefs.
Yeah, I agree with you. Especially, people can never see it. But, as I cover more pageants, as I cover girls like you in pageants, you guys have been, saying how it can really be transformative, life-changing for your part.
Yes. Pageantry has really given me life lessons that I can carry on beyond it. And how I've entered pageantry is kind of how I've entered sports. It's just really doing everything in my capabilities, so that when I know towards the end that I can walk away knowing that I gave it my all, and that I have no doubts that I did everything that I can, and that I know that I succeeded no matter the outcome. But within pageantry, I think what it's given me is the poise, it's the interview, able to speak, giving me confidence really to put myself out there and to display my authentic self.
So how are you going to display that in a sea of beautiful, stunning women from all over the country? You guys are, I think, about the number more than 60 candidates this year. How do you plan to stand out in the competition?
There's this saying I've been living by recently: I don't fit in the box fits me, in the way that I'm not going to trap myself into a box that's based on societal opinions. I'm going to allow society to adjust to me, because I shouldn't have to change to please others. Others should be able to learn more about me and learn the real me. And I think that's what's carrying me through this competition. It's just allowing myself to be true to who I am and not trying to conform to others' ideals.
Yeah, and ngayon looking ahead, the press presentation will be 2 days from now.
Yes.
And I feel like you can really stand out just because of your hair bigger. And I love how you are wearing it so confidently. Yung mga ibang girls, di ba, yung mga girls na katulad mo, iba, they would straighten it just so they would conform. I remember talking to Nikita McIlroy from Hawaii. I don't know if you know her personally, but she said, because she also embarked a successful pageant career in the Philippines before moving to Hawaii, and she said, she would, straighten her hair just so to appear more beautiful and pleasing in front of the Filipino audience. Pero for you, you are wearing your hair authentically.
Yes, and I have to give that praise to my mom, because from a young age, my mom has always told me, be proud of your hair. Not many people have your type of hair. It's what makes you unique. And people are going to tell you, oh, you should straighten it, but that's just a way to trap you in others' ideals and trap you in with other people. And sometimes it's just okay to not belong with others.
Yeah. You're lucky to have a mom like that.
I am. Yes.
So I get now where that confidence is coming from. Yeah. So, as my last few questions, the press presentation will be happening this Sunday, and and it will be the first time that you'll be seeing all the girls, you'll be mingling with them. What do you hope to achieve with your candidacy here in Miss Universe Philippines?
Representation. As I've said it, the Philippines is very diverse, and what I really just want to showcase is that there's not just one definition of what a Filipina is or what she should look like, and that is something I want to bring to the Miss Universe stage, because it is important for others to be able to see themselves in their community and within their peers.
Well, and you know what, as I realize now, come to think of it, when you talk about representation, you seem to be in a good place at the right time, because if you check out the roster of Miss Universe Philippines this year, you guys there are now 3 confirmed candidates of Afro and Filipina descent here for this year's pageant. So, do you think, our pageant, MUPH, or Philippine pageantry has come a long way too in terms of inclusivity and diversity?
Yes, upon hearing that there are going to be 2 other Afro-Filipinas, I was thrilled, because it's almost a celebration of seeing different types of Filipinas and seeing different types of Filipinas. And so I'm very happy that Philippine pageantry has stepped forward towards progress and inclusivity, and really just allowing us to embrace all of our cultural backgrounds as Filipinas.
No, we have come a long way. Do you think representation is good for pageantry in the long run?
Yes, of course. Representation is a big ideal of pageantry, because it allows viewers to be able to see themselves on the stage, whether it's local or on the universe stage. So representation is a huge part of pageantry.
And siguro people have to realize din, parang, the world is really one melting pot of cultures.
Yes, based on my upbringing, I've learned that the world is not one-dimensional, and people are not meant to conform to one conventional idea. There's so many different things, different aspects about us, and we have to embrace those in order to gain deeper understanding and knowledge of one another.
Yeah, and it's about time that we should treat this as a typical, or normal occurrence in pageantry, and not so much more like a phenomenon. Because this inclusivity and diversity is giving girls like you an undue advantage because of all, unique circumstances surrounding your candidacy.
I would not say so. I think that my heritage, me being Black and Filipino, should not be the basis on what makes me the best candidate for Miss Universe Philippines, but rather just being able to express myself as a Filipino, because at the end of the day, that is what is tying us all together, not necessarily our differences. It's what we want to celebrate instead.
Wow. Yeah, and I think people should really, start seeing that from that
Yes.
point of view.
Yeah,
Okay.
right now, I think from the years before, it's very prevalent that we were underrepresented, and so that kind of made us feel inferior for a time and kind of put us in that box. But I think me coming out and the other Afro-Filipinas coming out, it is a way to empower us and other women and girls who are like us.
So in your own way, no, you're already embarking a very transformative journey without you even realizing it. No? Come to think of it.
Yes.
So do you think you're that phenomenal, transformational Filipina that the organization is looking for right now?
I wouldn't necessarily call it transformational. I would call it an awakening, because transformation implies that something has changed. When I've always been this phenomenal Filipina, I really would just want to contest the beauty standards of the Philippines, and again, not put myself in that box that is to appeal to others.
Wow, you want to challenge the beauty standards.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot to say, ha? You're gonna fight against the wall.
I will continue to challenge the beauty and just bring my authentic self to the Miss Universe stage. Again, I'm not going to conform to the ideals. I'm going to be true to who I am, and just I'm always going to be confident in my capabilities. And again, I just want to be that representative for those little girls and women who are like me, who feel they are inferior, because no one should ever feel inferior based on what society says. We are our own people, and no one can ever take away our ideas and our values.
Wow. Well said, well said. So on that note, thank you so much for allowing me to interview. Thank you for granting this interview request. I can't wait for what you have in store for us for Miss Universe Philippines. God bless you.
Thank
and
you.
Slay, okay? Slay, Matea.
Thank you.
So, take care, guys. I hope you had fun tuning in with my interview with Miss Matea Smith here from Florida, USA. God bless you guys until my next interview. Bye.
Bye.